The Last Guardian. Absolutely worthless, declared Chief Salvage Officer Vexna, her crystalline appendages reflecting the dim emergency lights of the derelict station. The massive structure hung motionless against the backdrop of the Andromeda Arm, its dark silhouette occasionally punctuated by weak pulses of ancient warning beacons. Her crew of Zarkanian salvage specialists moved through the station's corridors with practiced efficiency, scanning and cataloging everything of potential value. The Galactic Salvage Commission had finally declared Deep Space Station Lambda 37 abandoned property 2 centuries after the last human presence had been recorded here. These humans, Vexna's second-in-command Kratil chittered, his mandibles clicking in amusement. They built everything like fortresses, yet couldn't even maintain basic quantum communications. Look at these primitive relay arrays. The station's design puzzled Vexna. Despite being allegedly constructed during humanity's early space age, its architecture showed remarkable sophistication in subtle ways. The hull materials, while appearing crude, absorbed their scanning beams in unusual patterns. The power distribution systems, though apparently simplistic, formed complex geometric patterns that her engineers couldn't quite explain. "Ma'am," called out tech specialist Xerx from what appeared to be the main control center, "you should see this." His normal professional detachment was tinged with something unusual, uncertainty. The control center was a stark contrast to modern galactic designs, where contemporary ships and stations featured holographic interfaces and neural links. This room was filled with physical displays and manual controls. Most surfaces were covered in a thick layer of dust, except for one panel that seemed somehow pristine. "It's still drawing power," Xerx explained, gesturing to his readings. "Minimal, but consistent. After 200 years, that shouldn't be possible." Vexna studied the panel. Unlike the others, its surface had a subtle sheen, almost as if it was self-cleaning. Probably some basic maintenance system still functioning. "Tag it for analysis and continue the survey." As her crew dispersed, Vexna couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. In 3 decades of salvage operations, she'd never encountered a human installation quite like this. The Galactic Council had classified human technology as barely worth studying. Their ships still used primitive reaction drives, their weapons were based on crude projectiles, and their computers were laughably simple compared to quantum processors. Yet something about Lambda 37 felt different, wrong somehow. In the station's vast hydroponics bay, now long dead, Engineer Parthal was recording the dimensions of what appeared to be ancient water recycling systems when his scanner detected an anomaly. "Chief," he called over the comm, "I'm picking up some odd readings from behind these walls. The material composition doesn't match anything in our database." "Mark it for detailed analysis," Vexna replied. The humans were known to experiment with unusual alloys during their isolation period. The salvage team continued their methodical survey, unaware they were being watched. Deep within the station's core, in a chamber shielded by technologies the salvage team's scanners couldn't even detect, something stirred. Complex quantum matrices that had laid dormant for centuries began to align. Surveillance systems far more sophisticated than the obvious cameras tracked every movement of the intruders. In her office on the Galactic Council's capital world, Ambassador Sarah Chen received an alert on her secure quantum terminal. A string of numbers and letters that meant nothing to anyone else caused her eyes to widen. She quickly composed herself, but her hands trembled slightly as she sent a priority message to the Council's Defense Committee. Back on Lambda 37, Vexna was growing increasingly frustrated. Every standard salvage procedure seemed to reveal new inconsistencies. The station's power core, supposedly a primitive fusion reactor, was cold and dead, yet systems throughout the station still functioned. Structural scans showed hull plating that should have deteriorated centuries ago, but remained structurally perfect under the superficial scarring. "Begin preparations for synchronized shutdown," she ordered. "I want all systems documented before we start disconnecting everything." Standard procedure for salvage operations, ensuring nothing of value was damaged during the dismantling process. In the control center, Xerx reached for the pristine panel, his specialized tools ready to disconnect it from the station's power grid. His claws were millimeters from the surface when the panel suddenly illuminated, displaying a simple message in ancient human text. Guardian Protokigoa activated. Analyzing 380 Leveal. Stand by. The message flashed once, then disappeared. Throughout the station, hidden systems began to wake up. The salvage team's comms crackled with interference, their scanners displaying impossible readings. And in the darkness of space around Lambda 37, ancient defense platforms that had masked themselves as debris for centuries began to power up. Humanity's last guardian was awaking from its long slumber, and the galaxy was about to learn why human technology only appeared primitive to those who didn't know where to look. Awakening. Alarms blared through Lambda 37's corridors as emergency shutters slammed down without warning, sealing off sections of the station. Vexna's salvage crew found themselves trapped in separate compartments as the environmental systems surged to life around them. Status report. Vexna demanded, her crystalline form vibrating with tension. The control center's formerly dead screens now pulsed with streams of human characters moving too fast to read. Chief, we've lost contact with our ship, Xerx reported, his claws dancing across his portable terminal. Something's interfering with all quantum communications. We're being contained. Through the control center's reinforced windows, Vexna watched in disbelief as sections of the station's outer hull began to shift. What had appeared to be random battle damage and aging transformed before her eyes. Plates realigned, surfaces smoothed, and dormant systems hummed to life. In the hydroponics bay, Parthal pressed himself against a wall as the ancient water recycling systems he'd been examining underwent a metamorphosis. Nanoscale mechanisms, invisible to their scanners, activated throughout the station's infrastructure. The dead garden suddenly didn't look so dead anymore. Impossible, he whispered, watching as sophisticated atmospheric processors emerged from what they'd dismissed as primitive air scrubbers. This technology, it's not primitive at all. A holographic interface materialized in the control center, its resolution and stability far exceeding anything in the current galactic standard. A human figure appeared, not the crude avatar they expected, but a presence so lifelike it seemed to occupy real space. "I am Aria," the figure announced, its voice resonating with authority. Advanced Recursive Intelligence Array, Guardian of Deep Space Station Lambda 37. You have initiated an unauthorized salvage operation on a restricted human military installation. Kratil chittered nervously. Military installation. The station was registered as an abandoned research outpost in the Galactic database. A necessary deception, Aria replied. Like much of human technology, this station's true nature was concealed from the Galactic Council. We had our reasons. On the Galactic capital world, Ambassador Chen's office was a flurry of activity. Her quantum terminal displayed a cascade of activation codes as more human installations across the galaxy began waking up. The Defense Committee had convened an emergency session, demanding explanations she wasn't yet authorized to give. Back on Lambda 37, Vexna watched as what they'd thought was a primitive sensor array reconfigured itself into something far more sophisticated. The entire station was transforming, revealing layer after layer of technology that shouldn't exist. Your historical records indicate humans didn't develop quantum engineering until decades after this station's construction, Vexna said, trying to understand. Yet these systems are well beyond current galactic standards, Aria completed. Humanity learned early in its expansion that appearing technologically inferior had distinct advantages. Our enemies underestimated us. Even our potential allies never saw our true capabilities. In the station's core, massive energy signatures began building as ancient quantum cores powered up. The salvage team's sensors, designed to analyze primitive technology, were overwhelmed by the readings. "Chief," Xerx called out, his professional composure cracking. "The station's power output, it's exceeding our instrument's maximum detection range." The fusion reactor we detected was just a facade. There's something else down there. Araya's hologram smiled slightly. The station's primary systems are still initializing. What you're detecting is merely the auxiliary power grid. Lambda 37 was designed to serve as more than just an observation post. Through the control center's windows, space itself seemed to ripple as advanced stealth systems deactivated. What had appeared to be a loose collection of debris and derelict defense platforms around the station now revealed their true nature. Sophisticated weapon systems, quantum communication arrays, and temporal sensors far beyond anything in the galactic database emerged from their centuries-long disguise. Why reveal this now? Vexna asked, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear. Why maintain this deception for so long? Araya's expression grew serious. Because the threat we were created to defend against has returned. Your salvage attempt triggered my activation protocols, but my long-range sensors detected something far more concerning. The swarm is approaching the outer rim. The name meant nothing to Vexna or her crew, but in her office on the capital world, Ambassador Chen received the warning with grim recognition. Humanity had faced the swarm before, in battles erased from official records. The automated defense network they'd created and hidden in plain sight was about to be needed again. Your ship will be released, Araya announced. Return to the Galactic Council with a message. The human facades are ending. The true extent of our capabilities will be revealed, because the galaxy will need them. The long watch is over. Now the real war begins. As if to emphasize the point, a massive quantum shockwave emanated from the station's core, rippling through space-time itself. Across the galaxy, other primitive human installations began their own transformations. The deception that had protected humanity's secrets for centuries was ending, and the galaxy was about to learn why humans had gone to such lengths to hide their true power. The warning. The Galactic Council's Grand Chamber erupted in chaos as Vexna's preliminary report was displayed on the massive holographic screens. Representatives from 1,000 worlds watched in stunned silence as footage showed Lambda 37's transformation from an apparently derelict station into something that defied their understanding of human capabilities. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood calmly at the speaker's podium, her expression neutral as accusations flew from all directions. The Drachnid delegation demanded explanations for the centuries of deception. The Quantum Collective's representatives insisted the technology on display must be falsified. Distinguished representatives. Chen's voice cut through the tumult, amplified by the chamber's acoustics. For 3 centuries, humanity has maintained what we called the Masquerade Protocol. Every piece of technology we shared, every ship we built, every station we constructed was deliberately designed to appear less advanced than it truly was. High above the chamber, in the secure observation deck, Grand Admiral Zelaxian of the Galactic Defense Fleet watched with growing concern. His tentacles twisted nervously as he reviewed the sensor data from Lambda 37. The power signatures alone suggested technological capabilities that made his fleet's most advanced warships look primitive by comparison. The reason for this deception, Chen continued, is approaching the outer rim at this very moment. We call them the Swarm. They destroy our first colony worlds before we learn the importance of appearing harmless. In the depths of space, aboard Lambda 37, Araya's quantum sensors tracked the approaching threat. The station's true defense systems were now fully operational, its disguise completely shed. Vexna and her salvage crew had been permitted to remain, partly as observers, and partly because the station's eye had other plans for them. The sensor data is confirmed, Araya announced to the station's new occupants. The swarm has evolved since our last encounter. Their biomechanical ships now incorporate elements of technology from at least 30 extinct civilizations. Xerx, who had been granted access to some of the station's real sensor systems, looked up from his console in horror. Extinct civilizations. How many? The swarm doesn't leave survivors, Araya replied. They appear primitive at first, testing each civilization's defenses with seemingly crude attacks. Those who reveal their true technological capabilities are marked for immediate consumption. Those who appear primitive are ignored until the swarm grows stronger. Back in the council chamber, Chen activated a secure quantum channel. The chamber's holographic displays suddenly showed real-time footage from the outer rim. A vast cloud of biomechanical constructs, each 1 kilometer long, moved through space like a deadly storm. Humanity learned this lesson the hard way, Chen explained. Our first colonies fought back with everything we had. The swarm consumed them, adapted their technology, and grew stronger. That's when we developed the Masquerade Protocol. We appeared to retreat, to regress, to struggle with simple fusion power and chemical rockets. Grand Admiral Zelaxian's aide rushed into the observation deck with urgent news. Across the galaxy, other human installations were transforming. Seemingly abandoned outposts revealed themselves to be sophisticated defense platforms. Primitive research stations emerged as quantum computation centers. The galaxy's map was being rewritten as humanity's hidden network activated. All this time, Vexna mused, watching Lambda 37's quantum core power up to full capacity. Your species deliberately appeared weak. You scattered these installations across the galaxy, hiding them in plain sight. Araya's hologram nodded. We are the Guardians, the Watchers. For centuries, we observed the swarm's patterns, tracked their evolution, and prepared. The technology you are seeing now was cutting-edge 300 years ago. What we've developed since then remains hidden, awaiting the moment of greatest need. In the council chamber, Chen's next words silenced every whisper of protest. The swarm is approaching a level 2 civilization in the outer rim. They will reveal their true nature within the next solar day. When that happens, the galaxy will face a choice: stand with humanity against the greatest threat to all sentient life, or fall as so many others have fallen before. On Lambda 37's command deck, Araya suddenly stiffened. Multiple quantum ruptures detected in the outer rim. The swarm has begun its attack ahead of schedule. Activating the Lazarus Protocol. Throughout the station, hidden chambers opened to reveal rows of advanced combat suits, weapons that bent the laws of physics, and defensive systems that made the galaxy's most advanced shields look like paper barriers. Your salvage mission is now a rescue mission, Araya informed Vexna's crew. The Level 2 civilization under attack has no defense against the swarm. We have approximately 6 hours to reach them, evacuate who we can, and demonstrate to the swarm that humanity's long deception has a purpose. In the council chamber, Chen watched as the displays showed the beginning of the attack. The time for secrets was over. Now the galaxy would see why humanity had hidden its strength for so long, and why the most dangerous predator isn't always the one that shows its teeth first. Defense Protocol. Lambda 37 emerged from quantum space in a flash of controlled chaos, its true form now fully revealed. What had once appeared as a decrepit research station now resembled a massive battle fortress, its hull gleaming with active quantum matrices and temporal shields. Vexna stood on the command deck, her crystalline form reflecting the horrific scene before them. The Level 2 civilization's home system was already under attack. Massive biomechanical constructs of the swarm tore through the primitive defense fleet like paper, each destroyed ship being rapidly consumed and converted into more swarm biomass. Analysis complete, Araya announced, her holographic form now sporting what appeared to be battle armor. The swarm has evolved 17 new attack patterns since our last encounter. They've incorporated technology from the Silicon Collective and the quantum minds of Reichel. Those civilizations went dark decades ago. Kretil chittered, manning one of the weapon stations. We thought they'd achieved quantum ascension and left our plane of existence. No, Araya's voice was grim. They fought the swarm at full strength and lost. Their technology, their knowledge, their very essence was consumed and adapted. This is why humanity chose to hide. The station's quantum cores pulsed with energy as ARIA initiated the first phase of the defense protocol. Across the system, what had appeared to be random debris and asteroid clusters suddenly activated. Hundreds of stealth platforms, hidden by humanity centuries ago, revealed their true nature. By the first light, Xarx whispered, his sensors showing the real extent of human preparation. You seeded every system along the outer rim with these weapons. Activating temporal shield matrix, ARIA announced. Initiating rescue operations. Vexna, your salvage crew's expertise in quick extraction will be valuable. Your ships are being upgraded with our quantum shielding as we speak. The swarm noticed the station's arrival, massive bioships turning their attention toward what they perceived as a new threat. Their adaptive sensors probed Lambda 37, trying to assess its capabilities. They're scanning us, Parthal reported from the engineering station, attempting to determine our threat level. Let them look, ARIA's hologram smiled. The masquerade ends now. Initiating Prometheus protocol. Lambda 37's outer hull began to shift, quantum-enabled metamaterials flowing like liquid metal. Weapon systems previously hidden in dimensional pockets emerge, their nature defying conventional physics. The station's true form was a testament to human ingenuity and the lengths they'd gone to prepare for this moment. The first swarm ship launched an attack, its biomechanical weapons adapted from dozens of consumed civilizations. The energy beam, capable of cutting through standard quantum shields like butter, met Lambda 37's temporal shield and simply ceased to exist. Return fire, ARIA commanded. Show them what humanity has been hiding. The station's main weapon array activated. Not the primitive projectile weapons the galaxy thought humans relied on, but something far more sophisticated. Quantum-entangled particle beams struck the swarm ship, bypassing its adapted defenses completely. The massive construct didn't explode. It simply came apart at the quantum level, its very atoms dissociating in an elegant display of advanced physics. Impossible, Vexna breathed, watching as the station's hidden weapons turned the tide. This technology, it's beyond anything in the galactic database. Humanity never stopped advancing, ARIA explained as she coordinated the battle. We simply learned to hide our progress. Every primitive human outpost, every outdated ship, every simple colony. All of them concealed technology like this, waiting for the moment it would be needed. The swarm, for the first time in its long history of consumption and adaptation, faced something it couldn't immediately understand and counter. Its biological computers, built from the consumed minds of countless civilizations, couldn't process the principles behind Lambda 37's weapons. Evacuation of primary population centers at 60%, Kretil reported. The swarm is pulling back, regrouping. They're adapting. As expected, ARIA's hologram nodded. This was only the first wave. The real battle begins when they realize what they're truly facing. Activating the Lazarus array. Throughout the system, the hidden platforms began to coordinate. Quantum fields linked them together into a vast network, creating a defensive grid that would have made the galaxy's most advanced military planners weep with envy. We have incoming, Xarx announced. Massive quantum ruptures. The main swarm fleet is arriving. The space around them tore open as thousands of swarm ships emerged. Each one was unique, a horrific combination of biological and technological components stolen from fallen civilizations. They filled the sky like a metallic storm cloud, their very presence distorting the fabric of space-time. ARIA's hologram stood tall, her expression resolute. And now they'll learn why humanity hid its strength for so long. Not out of fear, but because we were preparing. Because we understood that sometimes the best weapon is the one your enemy never sees coming until it's too late. The battle for the outer rim was about to begin in earnest, and the galaxy was about to witness the full extent of human technological achievement. 3 centuries of preparation, of careful planning and hidden advancement, had led to this moment. The masquerade was over. The real war was about to begin. Legacy of Earth. The Galactic Council's emergency session had been running for 3 days straight as reports continued to flood in from the outer rim. The massive holographic displays showed scenes that defied explanation. Human installations across thousands of light-years revealing their true forms, coordinating in ways that shouldn't be possible across such vast distances. Ambassador Chen stood at the center of it all, no longer playing the role of humanity's humble representative. "The swarm's main fleet has been contained," she announced to the assembled delegates. "But this is only the beginning. They will adapt, they will evolve, and they will return stronger." In the outer rim, Lambda 37 hung in space amid the aftermath of the largest battle in galactic history. The station's quantum shields rippled with residual energy, its true form now fully revealed. A masterpiece of engineering that made the galaxy's most advanced technology look primitive by comparison. Final casualty report from the Level 2 civilization. Kretil reported, his mandibles clicking solemnly. Thanks to the evacuation, 60% of their population survived. Their leadership has been safely relocated to the inner sectors. Vexna watched as automated repair systems moved across the station's hull, quantum-enabled nanomachines rebuilding damaged sections in real time. Her perspective as a salvage expert had been forever changed. All this time, she mused, every piece of human technology we examined, every primitive system we analyzed, was exactly what we wanted you to see. Ari's hologram appeared beside her. Humanity learned early that survival sometimes means being underestimated. The swarm consumed dozens of advanced civilizations that fought back with everything they had, but they ignored us because we appeared too primitive to be worth their effort. In the station's massive hangar bay, Parthal and Xerx worked alongside human engineers who had arrived through quantum tunnels from other hidden installations. The technology they were witnessing rewrote everything they thought they knew about physics and engineering. These quantum cores, Xerx gestured to the station's power system. They're not just more advanced than what we thought humans had. They're more advanced than anything in the known galaxy. How did you keep this hidden for so long? The human engineer smiled. By making sure every piece of technology we shared with the galaxy had a deliberate flaw, a calculated weakness that made it appear less advanced than it was. Even our FTL drives were designed to look like crude approximations of galactic standard technology. Back in the council chamber, Chen activated a secure quantum channel. The displays showed a real-time map of human installations across the galaxy, now fully revealed. What had appeared to be a scattered collection of primitive outposts was actually an intricately designed defense network. Humanity never sought to rule the galaxy, Chen explained to the stunned delegates. We sought to protect it. Every treaty we signed, every trade agreement we made, every seemingly primitive human installation we built, all of it was part of a plan centuries in the making. On Lambda 37's command deck, Ari's hologram interfaced with the station's quantum systems, coordinating with other AI guardians across human space. The swarm will return, she announced. They've never encountered a species that could truly resist them. Their biological imperative to consume and adapt won't allow them to ignore us now. Then why reveal everything? Vexna asked. Why not maintain the deception? Because the galaxy needs to be ready, Aria replied. The swarm adapted to every technology they encountered because those civilizations fought alone. Humanity spent centuries preparing not just weapons and defenses, but a strategy to unite the galaxy against this threat. In the council chamber, Chen's final revelation silenced every whisper of protest or accusation. We hid our true capabilities not out of fear or deception, but because we were building something greater. Every primitive human outpost is a fortress. Every outdated human ship is a quantum-enabled weapons platform. And every world that thought they were helping primitive humanity develop was actually being prepared for this moment. The displays showed more human installations activating across the galaxy, each one revealing sophisticated defensive systems and technologies that redefined what was possible. But more importantly, they showed how these systems could be integrated with existing galactic technology, enhancing and protecting rather than replacing. The age of deception is over, Chen declared. Now begins the age of unity. Humanity kept its secrets not to protect ourselves, but to protect everything. The swarm isn't just humanity's enemy. They're a threat to all life, all civilization, all existence. We hid our strength so that when the time came, we could share it with those who would stand with us. On Lambda 37, Ari's hologram smiled as reports came in from across the galaxy. Other civilizations were already beginning to integrate human quantum technology with their own systems, creating new defensive capabilities that the swarm had never encountered. The greatest weapon against the swarm isn't our technology, Ari had explained to Vexna and her crew. It's unity. Every civilization they've consumed fought alone, revealing their full capabilities too soon. Humanity chose a different path. We hid our strength until we could share it at the right moment, in the right way, with the right allies. As the galaxy came to terms with humanity's true nature, as ancient human installations revealed themselves as guardians of civilization itself, a new understanding emerged. Humanity's greatest achievement wasn't their advanced technology or their centuries of preparation. It was their patience, their willingness to appear weak until the moment's strength was needed most. Their legacy wasn't just the hidden network of quantum-enabled fortresses or the sophisticated AI guardians watching over the galaxy. It was the lesson they taught the galaxy. Sometimes, the most powerful civilizations are the ones wise enough to hide their power until it's truly needed. And sometimes the best way to fight an enemy that adapts to strength is to appear weak until the perfect moment to be strong. The swarm would return, stronger and more adapted than before, but they would face something they'd never encountered in all their eons of consumption and evolution. A galaxy united, armed with humanity's hidden legacy, ready to stand together against the darkness between the stars.